Hi, Miss Fisher here. We're going to go ahead and work on our yellow books. So you can decorate the outside of your yellow book if you want, if you haven't already. I'm still working on mine, and you can do it in your free time if you have any. So this lesson is on pages 5 and 6. So it is asking on page 5, just to go over what page 5 is about. This is asking if it's a question or a statement. When we're talking about, questions, we usually start with question words. And question words ask who, what, where, when, why. And a lot of questions will begin with that. And at the end of every question needs to come a question mark. So at the end of a question, you'll see the question mark. If a question mark's not there, you need to edit to make sure it is there. And if it is there, then you know that the person is asking a question rather than making a statement. Now, what is a statement? A statement is a piece of information. It could be a fact, it could be an opinion, but it is something that is stated. It's a statement. It's something somebody is saying. So it could be, a statement could be a fact, like the sky is blue. That is a statement in itself. Another statement could be, I like cats, while an opinion is still a statement. You are making a claim. So when we're looking at whether it's a statement or a question, we need to think about, is it asking something or is it telling you something? Oops, I dropped my pen. So let's look at this. It says all kinds of stories. Read each sentence. Write Q on the line if the sentence is a question. Write S if the sentence is a statement. People read all kinds of books. Now, is it asking something or telling something? It's telling you something. It's a statement. So we're going to go ahead and write S on the line. The next one says, what kind of books do you like? Is it asking a question or stating something? So it's asking a question. What kind of books do you like? The next one, when is the best time to read? Is it asking or stating? Hopefully you said asking. And if you're not sure, here it also has a question mark at the end. So that's a good telling point. Who are your favorite authors? So yes, it is a question. Sometimes I'm pausing because I'm hoping you're answering and not just waiting for me to tell you the answer. Just like if we were in class, I would read the question or somebody would read the question and then I would hope that somebody responds. This next one, I like to read books by Leo Lionni. Lionni. Is it stating something or asking something? Hopefully you said it's stating something. It's stating something. It's a personal opinion. They like to read books by them. Now it says circle the word that completes the question. Write the questions on the line. So down here we have two different options, when or who. So we're in class, we should go through and read it with both of the options to see which one sounds better. If it sounds right, it's probably right. If it sounds wrong, it might be wrong. So when writes the best animal stories, or we could say who writes the best animal stories. So is it when or who? Who writes or when writes? Hopefully you said who. Who writes? So we're going to go ahead and circle who. Then you need to go ahead and write it on the line. When you're writing the sentence, please make sure you do a finger space between each word. Use your pinky as a guide for finger space. It's a little smaller than your pointer finger, so it gives the perfect amount of space. Who writes the best animal stories? Please use pencil even though I'm not. So go ahead and write it on the line. If you're not done, pause it before we move on to number 2. Okay, number 2 now. We have what and why. What is your favorite animal story, or why is your favorite animal story? What or why? Hopefully you said what. What is your favorite? We don't say why is your favorite. We could say maybe why is it your favorite, but we in order to do that, we'd have to say, why is it your favorite animal story? Which is asking a totally different question. What is your favorite animal story? So after we go ahead and find out that it's what, we need to write it on the line. What is your favorite animal story? Last one for this section is number 3. We have where or what. What does the story take place, or where does the story take place? Which one makes sense? Where or what? Hopefully you said where. Where does the story take place? We're asking like where, like Alturas, California, United States. Maybe it's happening in Mexico or Canada or China or Japan. So where does it take place? Where does the story take place? Don't forget your question mark at the end, just like if you're putting a period at the end of a sentence. Part C. I'm going to read this, but you need to do Part C on your own. You can write it on the blank page you have that should come before this, or you can write it on a piece of lined paper, but that needs to be submitted when you submit this. Write one question that you would like to ask your favorite author. Begin the question with who, what, where, when, or why. So first you need to figure out who your favorite author is. One of my favorite authors is Dr. Seuss. So if I have Dr. Seuss, then I need to think of a question that I could ask Dr. Seuss. And I need to use who, what, where, when, or why. So first, you can maybe write down your author's name. Then you need to come up with a question and come up with the question that you would ask your favorite author. And please go ahead and write that down. And when you submit your assignment, I can't wait to see what you share, what you would ask your favorite author. All right, this next page is page 6. Who is Rollo? So here we have a question mark at the end. So is it a question or a statement? It's a question! Yay! It's a lot less exciting when it's just me talking. Read the paragraph. Find 5 mistakes. I recommend you highlight or circle or underline the word 5. As a reminder, you need to find 5 mistakes. So find 5 mistakes with statements and questions. Cross out each mistake and write the correction above it. So, John writes stories. Is there anything wrong with that sentence, or are we good to go? Hopefully you said you're good to go. What do you think he writes about? So there is something wrong with this. It's not a word. So what it's missing is a question mark. So you don't necessarily need to cross out the period, but you do need to add the question mark symbol. So what do you think he writes about? Because we need to add the question mark because he's asking a question. And it's not just a statement. He makes up stories about robots. This is a capitalization error. Can somebody can you figure out what needs to be capitalized? Hopefully you said he, because at the beginning of a sentence, we always capitalize the first word in a sentence. To symbolize that needs to be capitalized, you're going to go ahead and put under a lowercase letter 3 lines. Another good reminder that means is you can go ahead and also write he with a capital H up above. You can do that. I recommend doing both just as practice right now, but the 3 lines underneath is a correction symbol that tells you something needs to be capitalized. In middle school and high school, your teachers are going to use that a lot to tell you that something needs to be capitalized. So now we found 2 mistakes and corrected them. We need to keep going. He makes up stories about robots. Next sentence, the robot's name is Rollo. What needs to be fixed there? So the problem is they put a question mark at the end. Are we asking his name or are we telling his name? Hopefully you said you're stating it. You're telling. We're stating the robot's name is Rollo, which is why it's not a question and it's really a statement. So instead of a question mark, we need to go ahead and put the question mark in. Then we're going to put in what's called a caret. It looks like a little mountain, and put a period underneath. I'm going to put it up close. So this right here, up there, is called a caret. Not like a food carrot you eat, but it is still called a caret. And it's a symbol to add a period or to add a comma or to add a word. It just means add. So we crossed out the question mark because the question mark is wrong. It's not asking, it's telling. And we need to insert a period. Insert means to put in. So we're going to insert or put in the period, and we're going to use the caret and put the period symbol. So if you were to rewrite it with the corrections, it would tell you, oh, I need it to be a period. Next sentence, Rollo wants to be a person. Is there anything wrong with that statement? No. So we're up to 3 things we've corrected. Let's look at this. Where doesn't he want to be a robot anymore? So what is our mistake there? I want you to think about that for a second. I'm going to reread it. Where doesn't he want to be a robot anymore? Hopefully you said, wait, that sounds wrong, Miss Fisher. Are you sure you read that right? And I did read it right. So that's telling you that it shouldn't be where. We needed to say why. Why doesn't he want to be a robot anymore? Well, that's only 4 mistakes. Okay. John writes stories. That sounds good to me. What do you think he writes about? Add a question mark. He makes up stories about robots. Capitalization. The robots, apostrophe S, good. Name is Rollo, period. 3 mistakes. Rollo wants to be a person. Sounds good. Why doesn't he want to be a robot anymore? Oh, I see what we're missing. So, why doesn't he want to be a robot anymore? Now our question sounds right. But what is wrong with our question now? Look towards the end of the sentence. Hopefully you're noticing that end of the sentence has a period, and this needs to be a question mark. So we're going to turn that into a question mark. So why doesn't he want to be a robot anymore? Now let's go ahead and look at part B. It says draw a line to connect the words on the left to connect to the words to the right to form a sentence. Write the sentences on the lines. So here we have some robots, one robot in a movie, or what would you? So this is kind of like what is it about? Over here we have the what happens. Was named Hal, name a robot, have silly names. So some robots was named Hal? No, because right here it's robots. So it can't be some robots was named Hal. That doesn't quite sound right, does it? So it's telling me right away. My brain's telling me that can't be right. It doesn't sound right. One robot in a some robots was named Hal. No. Some robots name a robot? Or some robots have silly names. I hope you said some robots have silly names. Very good. Let's look at this next one. One robot in a movie was named Hal, or one robot in a movie, name a robot. Hopefully you said one robot in a movie was named Hal. That makes sense, right? So should I automatically just draw a line from the last 2 together? Hopefully you said no, because I bugged you guys about it a lot before last year. We don't automatically draw the line to connect the 2 in case we made a mistake. Because if I made a mistake, if it sounds wrong or it's not right, I'm going to know right away I made a mistake. I need to go back and correct my mistakes. However, if I just go ahead and just do it, I'm not going to necessarily notice that I made a mistake. So what would you name a robot? Oh, that makes sense. That sounds like a pretty good question. What would you name a robot? So I would say those go together. Now I need to go down here and write the sentence. Don't just write across. I've seen students do that. Make sure you do along. Some robots have silly names. And you need to go ahead and write that on the line. And you need to do all 3. So if you need more time after I'm done, please pause the video to make sure or finish up after the video's done. So, some robots have silly names. Done. One robot in a movie was named Hal. I ran out of space, so I had to write down here. What would you name a robot? So and I took and I wrote all the answers here. Now the last part to do is part C. Write one statement and one question about a real or make-believe robot you have read or seen about on TV. So some robots you might have seen on TV are maybe from superhero movies or action movies. Maybe you haven't seen it on TV. Maybe you read about one. We have the book series Hilo in the classroom. I don't know if any of you have read Hilo in my classroom. That's a really great series that has robots in it. We have some other robot books. Boy and Bot is a robot book. Maybe you've seen the movie The Iron Giant, which is a really great movie. So if you're looking for a movie recommendation, it's a great one. There is tons of different robots in movies, and if you ask your parents, I'm sure they can help you think of a robot you have read or seen about, and you need to write one statement, which is a sentence, something like, if you're writing about dogs, be something like, I have a dog, or the dog was black, but remember, you're writing about robots. So one statement, one sentence, and one question. So you should have 2 parts on that. And you need to, when you submit this, your sentence should be down here or on the next page. And make sure you submit it as well. All right. I hope you guys come up with some really good sentences and questions about robots and what you would ask your favorite author. And I cannot wait to read them. And I hope you guys learn some with that lesson. Let me know in the comments section on the Google Classroom if you guys have any more questions about pages 5 and 6. All right. Well, have a great day. Bye.